The Galactic Council had always been the voice of power in the galaxy. It controlled vast fleets, countless planets, and numerous species. The Council had spoken with authority for centuries, and no one dared to challenge its decisions. But that was before Earth entered the galactic stage. Humanity, once thought to be insignificant, had grown quickly into a force that could no longer be ignored. The Terran Empire. Earth's ruling government had expanded its reach far beyond its home planet. In just a few decades, humanity had colonized several star systems and developed advanced technologies that rivaled some of the galaxy's most powerful races. Yet, this rapid growth made the Galactic Council nervous. They feared what would happen if humans continued on their current path. On a cold day in Earth's capital, President Sarah Mitchell sat before a screen preparing for a speech. Her face was calm, but inside she could feel the weight of the decision she was about to make. The Galactic Council had sent an ultimatum in order for humanity to stop expanding or face severe consequences. They believed they could force humanity into submission, to show that the Council was still in charge. The message had been broadcasted across the galaxy. A fleet of alien ships, led by the mighty Zorathians, would arrive in Terran space within a matter of days. The Council's fleets were massive, well-equipped, and ruthless. Earth had never faced such a threat before. The ultimatum was clear. Cease all expansion. Return to your designated borders. If you do not comply, we will act. The galaxy will not tolerate your disobedience. The Council assumed humanity would fold under pressure. But they did not know humans as well as they thought. President Mitchell had studied the message carefully. She could feel the arrogance in their words, the assumption that Earth would back down. But she knew better. Humanity had fought for survival on Earth for centuries, and now it would fight for their future in the stars. Standing tall, Mitchell addressed the nation and the galaxy. "We will not bow to threats. We will not surrender to fear," she said. Her voice was firm and unwavering. "The Terran Empire will not be pushed around. We stand united. If the Galactic Council wants a war, they will have one." Across Earth, millions of people watched her speech. There was no fear, only determination. The humans had faced countless challenges in the past, from natural disasters to global wars. But this was different. The fate of their empire hung in the balance. Admiral James Walker, leader of Earth's military, stood by President Mitchell's side. He had seen the military reports, the scans of the enemy fleets, and the terrifying power of the Council's ships. But he was not afraid. He had known humanity's strength for years. He believed in the Terran people and their will to fight and win. "We are ready," Walker said to Mitchell. "The fleets are in position. We can meet them head-on. If we must." The President nodded. "Prepare the fleet and get the message to the Council. Tell them Earth will never surrender. Tell them we are not afraid." In the days that followed, Earth's military worked tirelessly, assembling ships, training soldiers, and preparing defenses. The enemy fleet would arrive soon, and humanity was ready to face them, no matter the cost. The Galactic Council watched the preparations from afar, confident in their superiority. But they were blind to the reality of human resolve. The humans had been underestimated, and that was a mistake the Council would soon regret, as Earth's military forces readied themselves. President Mitchell's message echoed in the minds of every citizen. "We are united. We are strong. We will never back down." Across the galaxy, the message reached the ears of the Council. The Zorothian ships, their enormous warships armed with powerful weapons, were ready to depart for Earth. But the Council did not realize that they had already made a grave mistake. They had underestimated the strength of humanity. The coming confrontation would change the galaxy forever. The Galactic Council had no idea that their ultimatum, meant to control humanity, would be the spark that ignited a firestorm they could never extinguish. The days following the Galactic Council's ultimatum were filled with uncertainty. The people of Earth knew the stakes. Every conversation, every news broadcast, every meeting was about one thing: preparation. Humanity was about to face the most significant challenge of its existence. Earth's government, led by President Sarah Mitchell, moved quickly, making decisions with the speed of a species that had learned how to survive against all odds. Admiral James Walker, the commander of the Terran Empire's military, was busy. Coordinating with his officers, the alien fleet, led by the Zorathians, was not something to be taken lightly. Their ships were enormous, their weapons deadly. But Admiral Walker had seen many wars in his life. He knew that the heart of victory lay not in the size of the enemy's fleet, but in the courage and strategy of the people who fought. "We can't just play defense," Admiral Walker told his officers during a strategy meeting. "We have to hit them where it hurts, fast and hard. We need them to know we're not just a target, they're the ones who should be afraid." The officers around him nodded. He understood the gravity of the situation. There was no time to waste. Earth's defense systems were powerful. They were not built to withstand a full-scale assault from the Galactic Council. The real strength of humanity lay in its adaptability. It was a trait that had been honed on Earth for centuries. Humans had faced wars, disasters, and challenges unlike any other species. "We have the advantage of surprise," Walker continued, pointing to a holographic display of Earth's fleet. "They expect us to fold. They don't know we've been building something far more dangerous than they can imagine." At the heart of the Terran Empire's strategy was a weapon unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The ship, known as the Retribution, was a massive warship, hidden from the eyes of the Council. It was designed with the sole purpose of striking fear into any who dared challenge humanity. Built with the best technology Earth could muster, it was faster, stronger, and more deadly than anything the Galactic Council could ever send. The Retribution had been a secret project for years, known only to a select few within the Terran Empire. It was humanity's ace in the hole, a game-changer that would level the playing field. While the alien fleets were powerful, the Retribution was different, could turn the tide of battle in a single strike. The humans had learned a long time ago that knowledge was their greatest weapon. They had studied the Galactic Council, learned its weaknesses, and crafted their plans with meticulous care. It was no accident that they had built the Retribution just in time. Every part of the ship, from its stealth systems to its devastating, the weaponry, had been engineered with one goal in mind: to make sure humanity would never again be underestimated. As the days passed, tension in Earth's capital grew. Everyone knew the fleet was on its way, the Council ships would arrive soon, and the battle for Earth's future would begin. But amidst the preparations, there was an undeniable sense of calm. The people of Earth were not panicked. They were determined. They'd faced far worse in their history, and had always found a way to survive. In the cities, people went about their daily lives, but there was a quiet understanding that something monumental was coming. Families gathered, and citizens spoke in hushed tones about the impending war. Yet there was no fear in their voices, only resolve. The Terran Empire was about to show the galaxy that humanity would not back down. In the heart of Earth's capital, President Mitchell stood before the people once again. This time, her speech was not about defiance, but about unity. She spoke not just to the soldiers, but to every human being who called Earth home. "This is not just a fight for our survival," she said, her voice strong and clear. "This is a fight for our future, a future where we as humans stand proud among the stars. We have fought too hard and too long to let anyone take that away from us." Her words echoed across the planet. People listened, and they felt the power of her conviction. They had always known Earth was a place of resilience, but now they realized that they were not alone in this fight. Every person on the planet, every soldier, and every civilian had a role to play. Together, they would stand against the might of the Galactic Council. The fleet was ready, the soldiers were ready, the civilians were ready. And above all, Earth's military command was prepared for whatever the Council might throw at them. They would not be cowed. They would fight with everything they had. As the days drew closer to the arrival of the alien fleet, Earth's military worked tirelessly. Ships were launched into space, and the Retribution was moved into position. The atmosphere around Earth was thick with anticipation. But even in the calm before the storm, one thing was clear: humanity was not going to give in. And when the time came to face the enemy, the galaxy would know that the Terran Empire was no longer the underdog. They would show the galaxy what humanity was capable of, and that would be a lesson the Council would never forget. The day had arrived. The Galactic Council's fleet was just days away from reaching Earth. On the planet's surface, people held their breath as the inevitable conflict loomed closer. The government and military were on full alert, ready to defend their home against the powerful forces of the Council. But humanity had a secret weapon that no one saw coming: the warship. The Retribution, Admiral James Walker, stood on the bridge of the Retribution, staring at the stars beyond. The ship was massive, more like a fortress than a warship. It had been designed to be a surprise, a weapon of overwhelming power that would turn the tide in humanity's favor. Walker had seen the reports of the enemy fleet's strength, but he wasn't worried. Not anymore. He knew the strength of the Retribution, and he had confidence in his crew and the Terran military. Admiral, a voice came from behind him. Walker turned to see his second-in-command, Commander Lisa Hall, approaching with a datapad in hand. "The fleet is ready, sir. We've coordinated with the Planetary Defense Forces. We're ready to engage the enemy the moment they enter our space," she said. Walker nodded. "Good. Make sure our allies are in position too. We need to hit them hard and fast before they realize what's happening." The tension was palpable, but the humans were prepared. They knew their only chance of survival was to strike first, before the Council's forces could fully mobilize. Hours later, Earth's defenses came alive. Across the planet, defense platforms, space stations, and military bases were on high alert. On the ground, soldiers prepared for a ground assault, knowing they would face overwhelming odds if the battle reached Earth itself. But in space, the Terran fleet stood ready. The Retribution and its accompanying ships moved silently. Hidden from the Council's sensors by advanced stealth technology, the Council's fleet finally arrived. Massive alien warships, their engines glowing bright against the backdrop of space, appeared just outside Earth's orbit. The Zerothian command ship led the fleet, its dark form looming like a shadow across the stars. It was a powerful ship, known for its weapons and impenetrable defenses. The Council was confident that they would easily crush the humans and force them to submit, but they hadn't counted on Earth's ingenuity. As the Council ships approached, Admiral Walker gave the order: "Activate stealth mode. Prepare to launch the first strike." The Terran fleet powered up, and in the blink of an eye, the Retribution emerged from the shadows. It was a sight to behold, a colossal warship bristling with weapons, its hull lined with advanced energy shields that shimmered faintly in the void. In an instant, it fired its first salvo. The energy beams cut through space, striking the Zerothian command ship before the aliens had even realized what had hit them. The explosion rocked the Council's lead ship, its shields unable to withstand. "The Force, direct hit," Commander Hall shouted. "We've disabled their command ship." But the battle had only just begun. The Council's fleet responded quickly, launching waves of smaller ships to engage the humans. Their weapons fired in bright arcs across the sky, striking the Terran ships. But the humans were ready. Technology was advanced, and their ships moved with the precision of a well-oiled machine. The Council's ships, despite their superior numbers, couldn't keep up. The Terran fleet was fast, too fast for the Council's ships to track. The Retribution unleashed another barrage, and another Zerothian ship exploded into a ball of fire. The humans' tactical advantage was clear. They fought with a precision and focus the Council had never seen before. On the surface of Earth, people watched in awe as the battle unfolded in the skies above them. News broadcasts showed the destruction of the Council's ships, their massive warships falling one by one to the might of the Terran Empire. The people cheered, their spirits lifted by the sight of humanity fighting back. But the Council was not about to back down. They sent in their largest ships, desperate to overpower the Terran fleet. The space above Earth became a war zone. With lasers and explosions lighting up the night sky, Admiral Walker watched the chaos unfold from the command center aboard the Retribution. His mind was sharp, calculating every move. The Terran fleet was holding its own, but the enemy was relentless. The fight was far from over. We need to take out their remaining heavy ships, Walker said, his voice calm but firm. Focus. Fire on their largest vessels. Take them down, and the rest will follow. The Retribution fired again, its massive energy cannons tearing into the alien ships. One by one, the larger Zerothian vessels crumbled under the intense barrage. The humans had them on the ropes. It was only a matter of time before the Council's forces would be forced to retreat, and then, as if in response to the Terran strike, something unexpected happened. The Zerothians activated a massive energy shield around their command ship, one that could withstand the power of the humans' weapons. The shield was nearly impenetrable, and the battle grew more intense. Damn it, Walker muttered. We need a new plan. But before he could issue another order, the Retribution fired a final. Desperate shot a concentrated beam of energy that tore through the enemy's shield, breaking it apart. The Zerothian command ship exploded, its wreckage scattered across space. With their leader destroyed, the Council's fleet began to break apart. The alien ships that remained turned and fled, retreating back into deep space, able to stand against the power of the Terran fleet. The battle was won. Admiral Walker stood, in silence for a moment, the weight of what had just happened sinking in. Humanity had not only survived, they had won. The Galactic Council had been defeated in one swift and decisive strike, as Earth celebrated its victory. The galaxy was left in shock. The Terran Empire had sent a clear message: humanity would not be crushed. They had retaliated, and the result was a victory that would echo across the stars for years to come. The news spread across the galaxy faster than any of the Council's fleets could move. The defeat of the Zerothian fleet was beyond anything anyone had expected. The once proud Galactic Council, an organization that had ruled the galaxy with an iron fist, found itself shaking with fear. The Terran Empire had not only survived, but had struck a blow that no one saw coming. On Earth, the celebration began immediately. News outlets broadcast images of the victory, showing people from every corner of the planet cheering. The Terran fleet had successfully defended Earth. The victory was not just military, it was symbolic. Humanity, once dismissed as weak and insignificant, had proven they could stand tall in the face of a galactic superpower. But while the people of Earth celebrated, the Council was in turmoil. In their private chambers, the leaders of the Galactic Council gathered for an emergency meeting. The once strong alliance of species now seemed fragile. The Zerothian fleet, the most powerful in the Council, had been destroyed. The rest of the fleet had retreated, humiliated by a force they had underestimated. How could this happen? Zerothian High Commander Korath bellowed, slamming his fist against the table. We had them on the ropes. They should have surrendered. Humans were more prepared than we realized, replied Counselor Khan, a diplomat from the Tilvian species. Their warship, the Retribution, caught us completely off guard. We underestimated them. They did not just defend themselves, another counselor added. They destroyed our forces. If we don't act quickly, we risk losing all our power. The galaxy will see this defeat as a sign of weakness. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council was unsure of its next move. They had always been able to count on their military superiority, but the Terran Empire had shattered that illusion. The Council was not used to being challenged. They had expected the humans to back down. They had expected an easy victory. Now, with their fleets in ruins, their confidence was shattered. The Council's response was slow, divided, and full of uncertainty. Some members called for retaliation, to send even more powerful fleets to Earth and wipe the humans out for good. Others argued for diplomacy, fearing that pushing further would lead to an all-out war they could not win. The once unified Galactic Council was now divided, and no one could agree on how to proceed. On Earth, President Sarah Mitchell was aware of the growing uncertainty among the Council. While the victory was celebrated, she knew it was only a temporary one. The Council would not take this defeat lightly. They would regroup, and they would come for Earth again. We must prepare, President Mitchell said during a meeting with her top military advisors. The victory was important, but it is only the beginning. The Council will not let this go. It will come back stronger, and we must be ready. Admiral James Walker, who had been at the helm of the Terran fleet during the battle, stood beside her. He had seen the aftermath of the fight and knew the cost of victory. "We can't afford to be complacent," Walker agreed. "The Zorathians and their allies may be retreating now, but they won't forget the loss. They'll regroup, and they'll come back with everything they've got." The president nodded. "We've shown them that we're not to be underestimated. But now we need to prepare for the next phase. We need to secure our borders, strengthen our alliances, and ensure that Earth remains safe from any future attacks." Meanwhile, in the far reaches of the galaxy, the remnants of the Galactic Council's fleets regrouped. The Council was fractured, but its power was still vast. The counselors knew they had to act fast to restore their image and reassert their authority. The defeat at the hands of the humans was humiliating, and they couldn't afford to let that image fester. But what the Council failed to realize was that their defeat had already set something in motion that they could not stop. Throughout the galaxy, smaller star systems, planets, and species began to reconsider their loyalty to the Council. Many had been unhappy with the way the Galactic Council had ruled for centuries, and now, seeing how easily the Terran Empire had defeated the mightiest fleet, they began to question their allegiance. In the heart of the Terran Empire, President Mitchell and her advisors knew that the future was uncertain. But one thing was clear: the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. The Galactic Council's grip on the galaxy was no longer as strong as it once was. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, and no one could deny it anymore. As the days passed, Earth continued to prepare for whatever might come next. Earth's military was strengthened. New alliances were forged with other alien species who saw the Council's weakness. The Retribution remained at the ready, a symbol of human strength. President Mitchell addressed the people again, her words filled with hope but also determination. "We have won the first battle," she said, "but the war is far from over. The Galactic Council will come back, and we will face them again, but we will not back down. We will continue to fight for our future, for the future of humanity." Her words gave the people of Earth hope. They had seen what humanity was capable of, and they knew they would never be defeated. The galaxy had underestimated them once, but it would never happen again. The Galactic Council was in disarray. Their defeat at the hands of the Terran Empire had shattered their once unshakable confidence. The alien races that had once ruled the galaxy with unquestioned authority were now questioning their own power. The Terran Empire had proven that even the mightiest of fleets could be toppled by the humans' cunning and strength. And the galaxy was starting to take notice on Earth. President Sarah Mitchell stood before a large crowd, her face calm but determined. It had been weeks since the victory over the Zorothian fleet, but she knew that the battle for Earth's future was far from over. The Galactic Council, despite its fractured state, would soon regroup. The war was not finished. Humanity's survival depended on how prepared they were for what came next. "We've shown the galaxy that we will not be bullied," President Mitchell said to the gathered citizens, her voice clear and strong. "We've shown that we are no longer the underdogs. The Terran Empire is here to stay." The crowd erupted in applause. The people of Earth were proud, but they were also cautious. They knew that the Council would not let the Terran victory go unanswered. But for now, they had earned a brief moment of peace. The Terran Empire had made its mark on the galaxy, and no one could deny its newfound power. Admiral James Walker stood beside the president, his face serious. He knew that the victory had been a major turning point, but the threat was not over. The Zorathians and their allies would be back, and they would come with even more powerful fleets. Earth's defenses had held strong, but they could not afford to become complacent. The Terran Empire needed to grow strong enough to face whatever the Galactic Council would throw at them next. "We need to strengthen our alliances," Walker said to Mitchell. "The Council will be rebuilding. We need to make sure we have all the support we can get. We can't face them alone." Nodded in agreement. "I've already begun discussions with the various star systems that have reached out. Many are eager to form alliances with us. We can't afford to let this opportunity slip by." Across the galaxy, Earth's victory had sparked a wave of change. Former enemies of the Galactic Council, many of whom had been oppressed for centuries, were now looking to the Terran Empire for guidance. The Zorthian defeat had weakened the Council's grip on power. Many systems were beginning to reconsider their loyalty to the once mighty organization. On a distant planet, a leader of a small alien species spoke to his people. The Terran Empire has shown us that we do not have to live in fear anymore. The Galactic Council has lost its strength. Across the galaxy, more and more species began to defect from the Council. They realized that the Terran Empire, with its strength and determination, was a powerful ally. And many saw the humans as the future of the galaxy, a future where every species had the chance to thrive, free from the oppressive rule of the Council. As Earth began to form new alliances, President Mitchell took a bold step. She called for a galactic summit, inviting every species that had defected from the Council to come and discuss a new order. The goal was clear: to create a new intergalactic organization, one that would be built on mutual respect, cooperation, and the belief that no species, no matter how small, should ever again be ruled by force. The summit was held on Earth, and representatives from many different planets gathered in the capital. Among them were former Council members, alien leaders, and diplomats who had once stood against humanity. Now, they stood side by side with the Terran Empire, united in the belief that the galaxy needed a fresh start. President Mitchell opened the summit with a speech that would go down in history. "Today, we stand at the crossroads of a new era," she said. "For too long, the Galactic Council has ruled with power and fear, but that era is over. We now have the chance to build a future where every species, every planet, has a voice. We are here to create a new order, one where peace, cooperation, and understanding take precedence over war and domination." The crowd in the room listened intently. The weight of the moment was clear. This was no longer just about Earth. It was about the future of the entire galaxy. And for the first time in history, the galaxy was united in a common goal: to overthrow the old ways and build something better. Admiral Walker, standing behind Mitchell, looked out at the assembled leaders. It was clear that humanity had changed. The course of the galaxy forever. Earth had become a symbol of strength, resilience, and hope. And now, the galaxy had a chance to rebuild. The summit was a success. Many of the former Council members agreed to join the new galactic organization, and a treaty was signed that would ensure mutual protection and cooperation. The Terran Empire, once a small and isolated species, had now become a key player in the galaxy. And with that, humanity's place among the stars was cemented as the summit came to a close. President Mitchell addressed the crowd one last time. "This is only the beginning. Together, we will build a new galaxy. A galaxy where no species has to live in fear. A galaxy where humanity is no longer the underdog, but a leader. Together, we will shape the future." The crowd erupted in applause, and for the first time in history, the galaxy seemed to be united in hope.